Welcome, it's Denome, and welcome to this war update. Now, I had hoped I would not have to make this video because Donald Trump became the president and he campaigned on world peace. But here we are in 2025, Ukraine and Russia are still at it, maybe even more than ever before. Middle East is blowing up, and now it seems like USA and Iran might go to war with each other. So I'm making this update for you guys because if this war breaks out, obviously energy prices go up, asset prices most likely will melt down, and global shipping will be halted because Iran is a massive player here. So if this region basically starts to blow up completely, the global shipping will be disturbed, and that will cause inflation across the planet. So we do not want to see a war, but if it does break out, I want you guys to be prepared. Now, before I explain exactly what's going on here, first, if you want to trade these markets, if you want to buy Bitcoin, if you want to sell Bitcoin, if you want to short Bitcoin, I'm currently sponsored by Phemex Exchange. It is one of the best exchanges on the planet. It's in the top 15. And if you sign up, there's a lot of bonuses, but right now they have a new trading competition where you have a 100% loss coverage up to 50 USDT. So if you want to trade small at first, you are eligible for a $50 bonus if you lose that capital. Then you are also eligible to share a $45,000 prize pool based on your trade volume. And there's also a lot of different welcome rewards as well when you sign up. There's a link below this video where you can get started. Now back to the video here. And by the way, I do think that Bitcoin will go eventually up in price, but if this war breaks out, the price of Bitcoin will probably have a temporary pullback, then it will go up. Because obviously wars need a lot of capital, and the way to create capital is to inflate the monetary supply, basically create money out of nothing. That will cause the prices of Bitcoin to go up eventually. But now back to the actual topic here, which is the war. Now, just to give you a brief summary what's been going on for the last 40 years, Iran, Israel, and Saudi Arabia are the big players of this area, and none of them really like each other, and they have proxy wars and they have wars with each other. They have allies, and the allies switch sides all the time. You have terrorists here, and the whole thing has been blowing up. But most recently, Afghanistan, there was a regime change war here. Syria had a regime change war basically last year. Lebanon is currently under fire. Libya had a regime change war not too long ago, and then Yemen most recently is currently being bombed as well. So pretty much from the old governments, Iran is the only old government that is still standing in this area, and most other countries have had a regime change that is basically pro West, and Iran is the only one standing still here. So they are feeling the threat and they want to create a nuclear weapon, and that is the red line that United States basically doesn't want Iran to have, and that is why USA and Iran are currently at odds at each other. Now, USA 2 weeks ago started attacking Yemen because Houthis have been stopping the shipping lanes from going to Israel because Israel is attacking Gaza, and the Hamas, which is supposedly supported by Iran, and the Houthis of Yemen are also supported by Iran. So if Iran is taken out of the equation, Israel and United States and Saudi Arabia think that the world will be more peaceful, obviously. Now, talking about the nuclear weapon, this is the major issue that is causing this imminent threat. So back in 2015, Obama actually made a nuclear deal with Iran, basically saying that for the next 15 years, you would not enrich uranium beyond 3.7%. And that was the deal. That was one of the best things that came out of the Obama administration. But then Donald Trump had his first term. And what did he do? He withdrew from that international deal, which allowed Iran to basically enrich uranium. And then by 2021, uranium started its enrichment process. And right now in 2025, on February, they almost have 300 kilograms of 60% enriched uranium. And currently, they can create one nuclear bomb per month at this current rate, according to IAEA. So this may be real information, it may be fake information. I'm just gonna take it at face value because this is what United States will use as a base for its decisions. So 60% uranium in its own is not a problem, but the only problem is that it only takes 1 week to develop it into 90% enriched uranium, which is explosive and it can be used for nuclear weapons. So you only need roughly 20 kilograms of that enriched uranium to create a nuclear warhead. So that is obviously what United States does not want. So previously it would have taken roughly 12 months to create this 90% uranium, but now it only takes 1 week to create this uranium. So for that reason, United States have issued threats against Iran. So here we have the threat that actually came out already in March. So there is a 2-month deadline to reach a new nuclear deal. And the deal came out on March 7th. That was when the letter was given to the Iranian government. So you have 2 months to reach a new agreement. If you do not, if we do not reach a new agreement, then there's two choices. Either Iran will be handled militarily, or we have to make a deal. Those are the only two options that the United States is currently considering. So now, obviously, they are placing pressure against Iran. So the most recent development came out basically yesterday. So United States is moving 6 B-2 stealth bombers into an island called Diego Garcia, which is right about here on the map. So it's basically in the middle of nowhere, but from here they can fly to Iran. So let me go back to the article here. So B-2 stealth bombers, they can carry the heaviest US bombs and nuclear weapons. And this is the main weapon that these bombers can carry, a 30,000 pound GPU 57 massive ordnance penetrator. So this bomb here, it can actually drill underground roughly 60 meters and explode underground where the Iranian nuclear facilities are located at. So these are the bombs that would be used to take out the nuclear facilities of Iran. So let me show you a couple of photos. This is the stealth bomber. So 6 of these are currently at the islands. And here is the bomb that they can carry. Now, if these are used, this would be the first time in the history after World War II where nuclear weapons were used for war. I don't know if United States actually needs a Congress approval to use these weapons. I feel like Donald Trump feels completely invincible right now, and he would use these weapons if he feels that that is necessary to take out the threat. But let's actually continue here. Will Russia come to help Iran if there will be strikes against Iran? So for this reason, that's one of the main areas why Donald Trump wanted to have peace between Ukraine and Russia, because they talked about Iran together. So when we head over to the US Embassy and we take a look at the readout, what happened with the talk between Putin and Trump, the two leaders shared the view that Iran should never be in a position to destroy Israel. Basically, that Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. This is quite good because Russia is an ally to Iran. And if Russia agrees that Iran should not have a nuke, that puts pressure for Iran that you are alone. We will not come to help you. And furthermore, when we take a look at what other things Russia has said about this issue, this came out on April 3rd, that they will basically condemn attacks against its ally Iran, that the attacks would be unacceptable and they could potentially have catastrophic results, especially if nuclear installations were bombed. Furthermore, the attacks would be illegal and unacceptable. They would create irreversible global catastrophe, and these threats against Iran are simply unacceptable. So those are strong words. But as of now, Russia and Iran, they have signed agreement. But in that agreement, there is no mutual defense clause. So Russia does not have to help Iran in case Iran is attacked. And also, this is probably the most telling sign here. So Deputy Foreign Minister of Russia came out to say that if there will be strikes on the nuclear infrastructure of Iran, that would have catastrophic consequences for the entire region. And this is the key word, region, because that implicates that the attacks will be isolated in Iran. Obviously, it will have catastrophic consequences for the region, but not for the world. So, most likely, Russia would not actually come to help Iran as of now, which is obviously probably good because that indicates that Russia will not help Iran, which is likely that Iran will rather have a deal than a nuclear war. So, that is good. But then let's take a look at what Iran is currently saying right about here. So this is what Iran is saying, at least on the 1st of April. So we are not moving towards nuclear weapons. That is the claim. But if you do something wrong in the Iranian nuclear issue, you will force Iran to move towards that because it has to defend itself. So basically, if there is an attack against Iran, then they will enrich the uranium to 90% and they will have the nuclear weapons basically as a deterrence to defend themselves against the West, against regime changes and all these things. But that's the stance that Iran is currently having 1 month into the 2 month deadline. Also, if these attacks are carried out, they will definitely receive a strong counterattack, and then they threaten the 50,000 troops stationed across the bases around the Middle Eastern area. And they have basically said in a different interview that those bases are basically unshielded from the 5,000 missiles that Iran currently possesses. So they are targeting these military bases for now if there is an attack on Iran's nuclear facilities. So right now, there's still no peace, but it might come. Now, the question next is, will or what are some of the escalatory steps that we will see before USA will initiate any strikes? So this is what Trump is currently saying. If they don't make a deal, there will be bombing. Trump said in a telephone interview, it will be the bombing, the likes of which they have never seen before, which means that they will use a new kind of bomb, maybe a nuclear bomb. If they don't make a deal, that I will do a secondary tariffs. So this is the second escalatory step before I think we will see any strikes. So if we see more tariffs against Iran, that means that they are climbing escalatory steps. So for now, I would not really be worried. But if they start implementing more tariffs against Iran, and it doesn't seem like they have a deal before May 7th, when the deadline is supposedly ending, then it would be it would be quite wise to actually sell some of your assets in case there's any kind of bombings. It might not be a nuclear bombing, but if there's any kind of bombings, most likely the asset prices would go down on that time. So be mindful of this. Now, would United States actually go and strike Iran? In my opinion, yes, because the current government is not exactly smart from what we have witnessed so far. So, for example, if we look at the transcript of the leaked signal messages, in my opinion, people got outraged from the wrong reasons. So they got outraged that there was a journalist inside this signal group and that they were using signal chat. In my opinion, the real scandal should have been what was said in that group chat. Because when we take a look at what was said in the group chat, it tells you how reckless these people are. So for instance here, this is Mike Waltz, I think is his name, but he is the defense something, I don't remember his exact, but he's the main guy there. So he said the first target, their top missile guy, we had a positive ID of him walking into his girlfriend's building and it's now collapsed. So basically they targeted civilian building because they had a positive ID of a missile guy in that area. But then when we scroll down here, and by the way, after that, everybody's saying, excellent, a good start, United States, good job, Pete, great work, powerful start, great work. So everybody's basically cheering an attack on a civilian building and no regards or remorse for these attacks. That is the first thing. The second thing is here, well, Vance is at least showing some kind of remorse that we shouldn't do this. There might be a spike in oil prices and that there's a mistake. And mostly why they are doing this is to send a message. So they're killing civilians to send a message. That is disgusting from my perspective. Also, Hexeth is saying here that nobody really knows who the Houthis are. So they are admitting that they don't even know who they are currently targeting. And then they say here that the two immediate risks on waiting more is number one, this information leaks and we look indecisive. This is quite interesting because this information obviously leaked, but he's worried that they look bad, which is quite egoistical and maybe even sociopathic from one point of view, that they worry about how they will look like. And then this is also pretty funny. Hexeth is saying that I will do all we can to enforce 100% operational security, which is obviously not what happened because these messages got leaked. And then one more thing that I want to point out is at the end here is that there needs to be some further economic gain extracted in return for United States basically helping the EU basically reopen the shipping lanes. So they want economic gain out of these strikes. So all of this kind of tells me that they don't really plan these things through. At the end of all of these things, like there's already been strikes going on, and now they think about now we need some economic gain in return at the end here. And they don't really regard for the civilian destruction. And now for the past 2 weeks, there has been ongoing bombings in Yemen. And I don't know, when you look at the videos, you look at the photos coming from there, the children definitely are not terrorists. So this is quite disgusting. So if this is how they plan things, I don't think they really thought through of all of the consequences that might come out of attacking Iran. So they might be completely reckless because they don't want to look bad and they want to attack Iran for that reason. Maybe this signal leak has given some sense into their heads that maybe this is not the best idea ever. So I have some hope for it. But talking about Iran, Iran is not a small country like Iraq or Afghanistan or Syria because it has 91 million people inside it, and it is militarily the most powerful nation in this area. So I don't think you can simply topple it and change the regime that easily. But I don't know, Israel was able to basically infiltrate the Hamas, and the pager attack was quite successful. So maybe they think that they have the capability to take down Iran and they will do some strikes here. But if they do, I feel like the consequences for any strikes will be catastrophic for United States. So I hope there will be peace, and I hope they will not have to carry out these strikes and they will find a peace deal. But if there will not be a peace deal by May 7th and we will see tariffs, then basically you know what to do. And that's the update I have for you guys for this war situation. And I hope everything goes well and we will not see more bloodshed in this area. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. Consider the promotions down below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.